it's so unique. You know, it's just a unique place. It's just the, you know, being down in the bowl like that, and the shape of it, and the end zones going up in the corners, and you know, you can't find another field anywhere that's like that.
We went to Blackfield on Friday night to watch the guys that were your backyard heroes. You know, it was a passage into something that was very special, to be able to play high school football and have the privilege to play on that field. It was special when you walked out there. You know, you had earned the passage to be able to play on that field.
A splendid amphitheater. That was the first description given of Blackfield more than 95 years ago in the local Greenville newspaper. Donated on the behalf of Dr. Duncan K. Black, Blackfield was officially dedicated on June 10, 1915. For 2 years, Dr. Black worked to purchase the land where Blackfield now resides. After successfully obtaining 2 1/2 acres behind the school, he presented the land to the school district to be held in trust by them for the use of the children of the schools within Greenville. One would assume with the playing field now so readily available, Greenville would have fielded a football team in no time, ready to play the following fall. But at that time, Greenville had been without a football program since 1904, when a student died during a football game against Elma. According to an article in the Greenville Independent newspaper, the team decided to disband after their fellow student and teammate, Henry Loading, passed away after suffering a severe concussion. The game of football was banned from Greenville schools, with no timetable on any return of the sport. But in 1916, just 1 year after Blackfield was presented to the school, a team took to the gridiron for the first time in 11 years. Football was back, and the program had Blackfield to thank for it. From then on, Greenville continued to field a team, playing home games at Blackfield against local teams such as Belding, Sparta, and Lowell. That is, until 1927, when the school moved the location of home games to the Greenville Fairgrounds. Described as a far superior playing field as opposed to Blackfield, the fairgrounds remained the home of the Greenville football team, but for only 7 years. By 1934, the Greenville football team had returned home to Blackfield. As it turns out, the move back to Blackfield was an orchestrated one. In late 1933, several Montcalm County projects were selected to receive Civil Works Administration funds with the intent to provide a boost in employment during the time of the Great Depression. 5 projects were selected throughout the county, putting 800 unemployed men back to work. One of those projects involved repair work on the school building and also Blackfield. Work on the field wasn't finished until 1935, but the wait was well worth it. The broad, concrete steps that still reside in the northeast corner of the field today were constructed. The field was resodded, irrigated, and bleachers were installed on the south end of the field, just past the retaining wall. From then on, a proper foundation was laid to ensure Blackfield would remain the home of Greenville football for years on end. The field was dedicated a year later, with more than 1,000 students and citizens gathered at the field for the ceremony. Little did they know, however, that Blackfield would remain the official home of varsity football for the Greenville Yellow Jackets for the next 76 years.
For me, what makes Black special is just what you brought up. The people who I have learned through the years have played down there. You know, I think about, the Carl Bloombergs and the Einar Jorgensens, the guys who played at times when they had phenomenal football teams. And those guys played down there. They played on the same field, going the same direction. Pretty cool. It was truly a unique experience at Black. I think the fact that you Most spectators sat above the playing surface, was unique. And I think when you have that bowl effect, it just focuses all the attention down low to the game, as opposed to when you sit in a flat field. It's easy to lose that focus and to look at what's going on around you.
I think that everybody that's played on it has felt that, has a bond with that field. There's been events and things that were really neat. Games that were big, Greenville Belding's always a huge game, those kind of things. We played playoffs and overtime games, and there's been some really neat things that have occurred. But in our 9 years, we've always emphasized a lot the last game on Blackfield that the seniors play. And so again, you think about that, there have been thousands and thousands of seniors who played their last game on Blackfield. And that has a great significance to those kids. And you can tell, it means a lot to them.
Well, I was very impressed. I thought it was very unique and would be a great place to play football. The crowd as close as it was, and the bowl effect and everything, it was impressive. That part of it was great. The process of every game, whether it was JV or freshman or varsity games, of transporting everything across town was something that you just lived with. The same was true for the band and everything else, that they had to move everything back and forth. But we didn't know any different at that time, and so we lived with it, made it work. It's, as I said, it's the way that it was.
I have so many visions, almost 500 games down there. For me, and my vantage point, of course, was always, because Blackfield, being the unique monolith that it is, awkwardly ran east and west. So I always stood on the south sidelines facing north and always looked at those steps will forever be, to me, my vision of Blackfield. And when I played 100 years ago, that's the bus pulled up and we came down the steps. You got dropped off there and it was metal spikes, clickety-clack, clickety-clack. We came down those steps, and I remember coaches yelling at us, "Walk, don't run!" And all of us, 2 by 2, going down those stairs. It was a cool sound, And then after the game, you'd go back up those stairs, and all the little rings of dirt that came off the cleats were just strewn all up and down those stairs. It was kind of cool.
I'll never forget people scoring touchdowns and running up the hills, behind the end zones. I just think that's really neat, something unique again. Guys gathering underneath the scoreboard for pictures after big games. All the people on the field after the games. The stands are so close, and it's such an intimate feel, and those are the things I think of all the time. To me, my favorite thing is just the players, knowing how many thousands of players have played there. Certain things always stick in my mind. The guys coming down the stairs before the game, I think, is just one of the really cool things about Blackfield.
The fall of 1974, we played Belding, and we did not have a very good first half. I think we were down about 21-7 or 21-0 at halftime, and we're not playing well at all. And we continued into the third quarter and got a little better, and then all of a sudden we scored, made it, I think it was like 21-14. We kicked off, They fumbled the ball. Steve Day picked it up, ran it in for a touchdown. And in the next 3 or 4 minutes, we scored 3 touchdowns and came back from 21-point deficit and beat Belding. And it was a great game. It was exciting, but I always remember the kids and that team that, it's just, let's go. We can do this, we can do this. And that game is always kind of stuck in my mind.
Lights Out is a halftime show where you do exactly that. You turn the lights out on the field, and the band is dressed up with things that glow or light up. And in the early years, flashlights were involved, as well as glow sticks like kids use at Halloween. And we'd tape them to the kid's head or their instruments or their bodies or anything that sort of exemplifies the movement. Color guard flagpoles, all that kind of stuff.
Presenting the 2011 Greenville High School Yellow Jacket Marching Band.
It started in 1975 when Keith Hudson was hired as band director in Greenville. He brought it from a school system that he had experienced previous to Greenville. And it was fairly popular in the middle and early 70s because it was sort of the new thing. Marching band had taken on a whole new life. Drum corps was becoming really popular nationwide, and high school marching bands were trying to do more and more things visually that would be flashy and exciting and keeping the crowd involved. So the lights out concept really caught on. It died out fairly quickly when football fields were renovated and lighting systems were implemented that didn't have a quick response time. When Keith Hudson brought it to Greenville, since we've been on Blackfield for so long and it had the original lighting and so forth, it was just an easy thing to do.
The Yellow Jacket Marching Band brings you the Lights Out 2011. Are you ready, Greenville Band?
Lights Out, for me, has taken on a lot of different parameters because the novelties are more available and they're fairly inexpensive. So I've started using LED lights, I've started using like flashing rings and light up fingers, and I had a young man who could juggle really well, so we did a fire baton one year, and all sorts of great things that look fabulous in the dark, short of explosives and fireworks and stuff like that. So we've taken it to a whole different level.
first of all, why leave Blackfield? And I think it's the intimacy factor that makes Blackfield so special for the spectators. I've never been a spectator there, and I don't understand that whole concept from that vantage point. I've always had the best seat in the house, and I'm spoiled that way. But to be truthful, the Greenville faithful have been spoiled too. And I think that that's the part of the uproar, is that people are from me to you, from the coaches, from the players, from the officials, from the game itself. And you don't get that. You don't get that in other places. And when you travel and you're on the road and you're looking at, from afar over a track, the game is different. And I think that's what that intimacy factor makes Black very unique. The fact that the playing surface sits down significantly lower than the bleachers. There's walk-around space, and again, that makes it very convenient for the people, the people who truly are fans of the game of football. It's really easy to watch a football game at Blackfield, and I think that that's what's created a huge uproar for people, is they don't want to lose that. I don't think they're going to lose that when they see what our people here on board, our administrative team and the football coaches are going to put before the viewing public. I think they're going to be pretty pleased with how easy it will be to watch football in the new facility as well. But I think it's that intimacy thing. It's always been there. It's, again, I think that generations have gone there, have huddled there, have congregated there on Friday nights. Harold used to have a saying, and it applied to all small one-school communities, that, hey, it's the only game in town. On Friday night, it's the only game in town. And that's what people do in small towns. And again, generations have gone to Blackfield.